This is a story about how my sister-in-law has torn my family apart. About 9 months ago, I posted a story about my sister-in-law on r/Reddit shaming. Some commenters encouraged me to write a longer post about her and suggested this sub specifically to post it in. This is my draft for ages and finally decided to post it. Before I go in, I want to give you a background of the players in the story. I have two brothers. The older brother I call Alan. Second oldest, which is the middle child, will be Connor. Alan is married to a woman I call Lily, and Connor is married to a woman I call Kara. It's hard to figure out where to start, but I guess it'll be the background I know about Kara. Kara is from California and came from an affluent family. She attended private schools K through 12 before going to an Ivy League. Not to be one of those people, but she's never really had a real job. She used to be an influencer before influencers were a thing. Like, she did blogs, podcasts, Instagram, etc. She wasn't successful at it. She really lived on her parents' dime. At 30, they basically said she would stop supporting her financially. She married her first husband shortly after. From what I can tell, she went no contact with her parents after the wedding, which I assumed they paid for. It also seems she stopped talking to her siblings around the time, just making assumptions. She was bad. She could no longer mooch off of her parents and siblings, and her siblings were on the parents' side. The siblings seemed to be successful in their careers. Her first marriage only lasted a year or two before divorce. Not sure why exactly divorce happened. She then had a serious boyfriend who she lived with. Shortly after breaking up with the boyfriend, she started dating Connor and things got serious very fast. Now to my experiences with Kara. The first time I met Kara, it was interesting. I've met significant others' parents before, and I'm always a nervous wreck and walking on eggshells. I feel like even the most confident people will feel a tad bit anxious meeting perhaps their future spouse's parents for the first time. Kara was an exception to this. She met everyone at a family wedding as Connor's plus one. She was someone who was very confident, but it didn't always meet her competence. Like, she would be very confident, turn to a person and said the wrong name or the wrong info. I remember she went up to my cousin and said, "Wrong name. I heard you're a lawyer." The parents gently corrected her on the name and occupation. When she does, Kara scoffed, rolled her eyes, and continued the conversation. She was very comfortable with us and said some things I was like, wouldn't say that upon first meeting someone, but I dismissed it. The first time she met my wife was a whole other experience. My wife wasn't at the before-mentioned wedding as she was working the day of. My wife is of the Samoan descent. Kara is white. When she met her, Kara immediately led her on a string of questions. "Where are you from?" "Oh, well, what are you?" "No, I didn't mean your occupation. What's your ethnic background?" Once she finally got to my wife, was of the Samoan descent, she made a comment like, she was like a real-life Moana, and then made a comment like if her brothers played football, if her extended family made canoes. My wife gently pointed out that those questions were based on stereotypes and a tad bit racist. Tara jumps in. "I'm not racist. I have all sorts of friends who are people of color." "Okay, Kara, doesn't mean you're not racist or at the very least asking inappropriate questions and comments." Then there was my wife's and I's wedding. Basically, I danced with nearly every family member, including Connor. Next morning, got a text from Kara saying that she didn't like Connor dancing with other women, and him dancing with me made him uncomfortable. I made a post about it a couple months ago. She's also been frankly rude to Alan's children. He has two. For example, we have been at a dinner one summer with one of Alan's children fell and skinned his knee pretty bad. He was about 3 or 4 when this happened and started wailing loudly. Typical child behavior. Karen rolled her eyes and looked at me and said, "Ugh, isn't he so dramatic?" "No, he's a child. Heck, I know a good portion of adults who would cry at a fall like that." My wife and I also have twins. Frankly, I tried to keep them away from Kara. Our twins were born 4.5 months before Kara and Connor's first. One of our twins happened to have a name with the same first letter of their name, and their names are somewhat familiar. Think Hector and Henry. We had no idea that they were what name they were choosing. When we announced the names, Kara threw a flippin' fit. Like, my family is visiting in the hospital room, everyone's excited, and we see Kara suddenly leave the room. Connor followed her. He came back and said she was crying, and we were like, "Oh, happy tears, thinking it'd be her in a couple months?" "Nope, We stole her baby name. We didn't even know what name they were picking, and I didn't share ours with anyone. Our name is a family name, and there is just one like it. It's not like it's not even the same name, just the same letter. We ended up using the name anyway. Connor and Kara have 2 kids together now. I really don't like the mom, shame because parenthood is hard. However, she's not maternal to her kids. The couple instances I engaged with her while she had kids, she didn't engage with them in any way. No talking, making faces, playing, etc. She seemed completely uninterested in her kids. I have a cousin who lives by them and sends her kids to the same preschool they send theirs. It's been communicated that the oldest, who's now 4, has some sort of behavioral issue. It's to the point that I don't invite them to play dates, birthday parties, etc. And Kara refuses to get him any kind of help because everyone is a hater and he's perfect. Again, I know parenthood is hard, but as someone who has 2 kids practically the same age, it really hurts me that she's not getting him any help and he's being excluded because of it. I could probably write a book about the absolute crap we went through, and I'm probably forgetting some things. It's just hard to deal with. Edit. Originally included this, but deleted it since Reddit seemed mad at the post length. Shortly after their firstborn, Karen made the decision to move across the country. She didn't have any reason for it. They packed up and Connor left his family and friends. I really think this move was to isolate him from us. Alan and I are basically no contact with him. My parents try to talk to him at least once a month, but the relationship is strained. Kara has really had a hateful, spiteful life. There's several truly hateful things she said to nearly every family member of the family that I didn't include just due to doxing. It's honestly been horrible. Wow, that was a crazy story, but honestly, I don't really have strong feelings for Kara. She's just like a horrible person, and she's going straight somewhere else when she passes away. Like, there's no other explanation. She might have a mental illness or something, honestly. That's what it sounds like to me, but that's just my opinion. What do y'all think? Comment down below what you guys think about the story. Next story is, it's never okay to crash girls' night, especially after midnight. Last night, I went to my friend's house to celebrate my 50th birthday with our small, very tight group of girls who all went to school together, so we have known each other for 35 plus years. Due to busy lives, kids, and communities, we only get to catch up maybe twice a year, so this time is very precious to us. These girls are like my sisters, and we look forward to these nights for ages, as they always take a long time to schedule. The host has an entitled friend I call JJ. This friend is in her mid-50s, so being young is not an excuse for any of her behavior. She is ignorant of social cues and likes to invite herself everywhere or just show up, whether invited or not. For context, I've met her once, but none of the other groups ever have met her. I could tell you a million stories about how this woman has no boundaries, but I'll focus on last night for now. Knowing what she's like and having had repeated conversations about boundaries with this woman, the host went out of her way to let this woman know she was busy with her friends and ignored all the flagrant hints JJ dropped about wanting to come. She also told her that after we had left, she was going to drive to her boyfriend's house for the night. We had a great night catching up, but noticed host's phone being blown up with phone calls from JJ, which were all ignored, as were the multiple texts. Her phone was on the table on silent in front of us, and we did not make comments as to why she was calling when the host was clearly busy. Our nights often last until around 2 a.m. or so, but last night, for whatever reason, both myself and one of the other girls left just on midnight, leaving just one of our other friends behind with the host. As they hadn't caught up one-on-one for some time, they started having a big D&M. Then around 12:30 or so, they're scared out of their wits just as a big loud "Hey!" from the front door. And there stands JJ, who blithely invites herself in and then proceeds to hijack the conversation about her LDR boyfriend of 8 years, while host and other friend just sit there not knowing what to do or say. Eventually, my other friend just left, and despite the host making repeated attempts to get her to leave, JJ stayed another 2 hours, making it too late for my friend to drive to her boyfriend's as she was too tired. I wish so much I stayed and been present for this, as I absolutely would have called her out. Who seriously thinks it's okay to hijack a friend's gathering with some people she's never met? After midnight, knowing my friend wants to get to see her boyfriend. This is seriously not the sort of thing I expect to write about at Reddit at my age. Well, honestly, there's just no words for this. JJ seems like an invasive rat. I don't have anything else to say for her. Like, there's no excuse. If someone repeatedly says that you should get off their back and just mind your business, just mind your business and get out of it. Like, you don't have to be hanging around them 24/7. Learn boundaries. For everybody else, I feel bad for them. Especially the host. Like, they did do better. What do y'all think about the story? Make sure to comment. Lady on the bus scolds me for sitting because I'm young and healthy and demands I must give up my seat. I suffer from chronic illnesses and chronic back plus hip pain. I rarely take the bus because it's less painful to drive myself or to have someone drive for me. I get on the bus and find an open seat, so I sit down. At the next stop, some entitled Karen, EK, gets on the bus and stands next to me with a displeased look on her face. EK, excuse me. Me, hello, do you need something? EK, you know that there are older people on the bus who need to sit? People like me? Me, I'm sorry, there are probably other seats in the back. I really need the seat. EK, stop talking this nonsense. You're a healthy young girl who is clearly healthy. I need to sit. Me, I might look healthy, but I'm not, and young people can be ill too, so please leave me alone. People start looking at us because she is huffing and puffing loudly. EK, today's youth is so spoiled. You need to learn to respect your elders. Then she literally tries to sit on top of me. Stop it, lady. Get away from me. I don't want you to touch me. EK, get off this seat and we'll both be happy. You don't need it. This lady, half of her fat butt on top of me, started to make herself comfortable on me. At this point, I was on a crap ton of pain and screaming at her to get off of me while the bus is still moving, and I'm holding back tears from the pain. The bus driver had to stop to get her removed. A girl from my class came and comforted me, even though she barely knows me. Happy end, I guess. But still, how do people just decide to sit on top of a person just to get what they want? This Karen is going to jail for her hands at me. She's not going to really be sitting on top of me. That's assault. I know that I'll be calling the police and telling the police ever that's trying to get her arrested, because there's no way she just did that. And I'll be very, very upset. But for that friend who helped you, respects. What do y'all think about this last story? Comment. Next story, 13-year-old on Halloween, no treats for you. This all happened about 20 years ago, so I'm a little fuzzy on some details. I, then 13 male, and my brother, then 10 male, were out trick-or-treating around our neighborhood for Halloween with our dad, then 34 male. We grew up in a small area where most people know each other, so we get to a house at the end of our street that we've never visited before, and Dad encourages us to go up and ask for treats because me and my brother were a bit shy when it came to people we didn't know. We get out of our car and knock on the door, and this elderly woman answers and invites us inside for treats. She fills my brother back with treats, but when it's my turn, she says no, because at first she assumed I was my brother's father. For context, I've always been very tall for my age. I was over 6 foot when I hit 13, so I was taller than most adults. Also, I dressed as Jason Voorhees, so she couldn't see my face because of the mask. So my brother corrected her and said, "No, he's my brother." She then said, "How old is he?" My mother tells her, and she says, "Well, that's still a little too old to be trick-or-treating, so I'm not giving him any treats." Then she went to the next room. We thought she was joking because we didn't think anyone could be that rude, so we stood there for a solid minute or two until we realized that she wasn't kidding. She wasn't giving me anything, so we exited the house, got to the car, and drove off. Once we told my dad what happened, he was livid, but we continued through the night, even though I was mostly defeated at the point, so we just stuck to the homes of our friends and family. I know it wasn't as bad as most of the stories on the sub, but it kind of ruined Halloween for a few years for me. I still went out until I was 16, but I always stuck to both my grandmother's houses and a few family friends' houses because I was scared that someone might tell me off for being too old to be out on Halloween. As for the old lady, nothing ever came of it. Sure, it hurt and shattered my Halloween spirit, but we didn't really feel like it was worth raising a stink over. I still live in that area, but I don't have a clue what became of her. It's been decades, so she could have died for all I know. So that's the story of how one old lady ruined Halloween for me as a kid. That lady is rude. Honestly, when I first read this title, I was like, oh, so you're not giving a 13-year-old treats? But no, that's very rude for a person to just be that cold-hearted. Like, he's 13, not 34. But what are y'all thoughts on this story? Make sure to comment. Next story. Karen got an employee fired because she helped her and still shops at the store like nothing happened. This was a couple years ago. We had this one Karen, short blonde hair and nose permanently stuck in the air, shop at our store. She was wealthy and drove a new Mercedes or a BMW, can't remember which one, and upgraded every couple of years. She also always came in with her earth-friendly bags and literally stuck her nose in the air and looked down on everyone. She also spoke to everyone in a condescending tone. She had me in tears once when I helped her. Anyway, this story isn't about me. She befriended another employee and used her to get the baking pans we hired out for free and not pay the deposits or daily rentals. Employees were allowed to rent them out for free if no one had booked them. So, she used the employee to book it out, and she would use it and return to the employee without paying, at least not paying the store. Not sure if they were under the table payments made. Not sure how my boss found out, but when he did, he terminated the employee's contract based on stealing, since we were not allowed to use tins for our own use, not sublet to a customer. Not to mention a rich customer. We were all a bit shocked when this happened, and the Karen kept shopping without batting an eye. She knew the employee getting probably a little more than minimum wage and having a family to support was fired, but she didn't care. My opinion on the story, I'm not even gonna say too much, but that Karen is a bench. She is. She's one to sit on too, because that's very rude. But then the employee just shouldn't have done that. I don't think I would be doing that for a rich customer, like especially if she wasn't paying me. So, but what do y'all think about this story? Make sure to comment that down below too. Period. Next story, coupon Karen story 1. Entitled Coupon Lady Owned in Checkout. Hello everyone, this happened to me a couple of years ago, mid-pandemic, and decided to share it now. I live in a mid-sized town in the Midwest of the USA. I was grocery shopping for my mother, and I was at a local grocery store in my town. Grocery shopping completed, and I head for the checkout lanes. There is one lane open while a line of 8 customers, all masked up and social distancing like I'm doing. Well, I get to the end of the line, and 2 more ladies are in the checkout lane. There is one open lane with a line of 8 customers, all masked up and social distancing like I am doing. Well, I get to the back of the / end of the line, and 2 more checkout lanes open, and the people in the front of the line start to move to the newly open checkouts. I advance to the line until I am next to be in line at the checkout register, and I now see what created the line in the first place. The lady is getting her groceries rung up in a binder and has a binder in her, has a lot of coupons. She has a lot of coupons. She is masked up, but her bedazzled top, short haircut, and 2 large sunglasses atop her head say it all. It's a couponing Karen. She is handing the coupons to the teenage girl to scan one at a time. Plus, she has a big stack of them. The coupons are not scanning, and the employee is having to enter the codes manually, causing the delay. The other open lanes are now shut, and I am stuck behind the EP couponing Karen. Oh, joy. Karen is berating the young girl for taking too long and snapping the young girl trying to bag her groceries. Can't you hurry up, you incompetent bad word? The young worker has soon to be shed tears welling her eyes. Both her and the young man bagging groceries have their heads down, just trying to get this woman rung up and out of the store. But with her monstrous coupon stash, it's not happening fast enough. Finally, Karen's huffs, "Get a manager right now, you stupid," bad word. I have heard enough. I politely but firmly interject. "Ma'am, your coupons are not scanning. That is not the fault of the girl, and you don't have to be so rude to her." Was that my mistake? No, I would say it to anyone. Karen turned a glare daggers at me in a rude and loud voice says, "Shut the heck up. Mind your own business. Do you know who I am?" I continued to stare her down and in a regular voice answered, "Yes, I know who you are. I have read all about you on your men's room walls of every bar in the Tree State area to call for an easy, quick, fun time." The O shape of her mouth was visible under her mask. I followed with "I have also seen your photos at the animal shelter warning the public of an escape rapid butthole." Karen was speechless, and the two employees started laughing very hard. Karen grabbed her coupon binder and the rest of her belongings and bolted for the door while emitting staggered cries. I had to wait another 10 minutes for her sale to be voided and get rang up. The reason I did not get to another checkout line is they had closed to get other people in line. I was the only one in the store at this point. Moral of the story is, don't scream at a stranger. It can get you checked verbally very bad. Loading. What? First of all, slay to the girl to OP who's telling the story. Slay. And the Karen, she didn't have to cuss at the girls. She didn't have to cuss them out. You know, it's like not that serious. Like, you know who should not be bringing so many coupons to the store anyway? If you're gonna bring coupons, at least make sure they rang up. Like, I'd be so embarrassed if I was that Karen. Oh my gosh. But what do y'all think about the story?
I would never go out I'd never go out to public, honestly.
Yeah, if I was that Karen, I would never go out again. But what do y'all think about the story? Make sure to comment down.
I'll call my mom, my dad, my uncles, my aunts, everything, just to go buy me some food or something.
Like, but anyway, comment down below what y'all think about this story.
Yes.
Pause it. Next story. Entitled cousin wants to stay in my place. This is an old story. So I have a cousin, Kate. Kate has a brother, Jake, and Leanne is my sister. Beth is Leanne's twin, and Greg has Leanne's boyfriend at the time. Okay. I invited Leanne to come over to my place for the holidays. Leanne asked me if she could bring some people with her, and I told her yes, thinking that she was talking about Greg. At the time, she didn't tell me exactly who. Okay. One day, I was talking to my mom, and she told me that now I was on good terms with Kate, I could look for a job for Kate and help her move with me until she got back on her feet. Or even better, I could offer a job to Kate as a cleaner. For the record, Kate hates me. She has proven so. My ex cheated on me with her. She badmouthed me constantly, and so on. I asked my mom where the idea came from, and she said that Kate is coming to my place in a couple of months. I denied it, and by the dates, it was when Leanne was supposed to come. I called Leanne, and she denied it, so I told her that Jake is fine, but Kate is not welcome in my place. Then I called Beth, and Beth told me that Kate convinced Leanne to pay for the whole trip for her, and she already did, because she didn't want to pay for the trip, that she is not sure if he's going to be able to make it. Moreover, Kate has convinced Leanne not to tell me anything and give me the surprise when they arrive. I told Beth the same. Kate is not welcome, and if they do something like that, Kate will need to find an accommodation because she is not staying at my place. I don't know what happened at that point, but Leanne came only with Greg, and my mom was mad at me because I didn't host Kate. Oh no! Oh no no no! First of all, I can't get behind cheaters. First of all, so since Kate wants to do that and be a, you know what? I can't get behind it. But my whole perspective of this is, yeah, I wouldn't host Kate either. But make sure to tell me what y'all think down in the comments.
Yes.
Next story. Roommate bought me ice cream for a thank you gift, then ate it. A few years ago, I had a housemate, Steve, 30-ish. We were both teachers in a small town. I owned a 3-bedroom house, and he rented a room from me. Steve's car broke down for a couple of weeks, and I drove him everywhere. Fast food, to work, to school, to the grocery store, everywhere. My boyfriend was visiting for the weekend, and we were at the store getting some groceries, and Steve called me to tell me he was ready to be picked up from school. I told him we were at the grocery store, but I would call him on the way home and get him. Steve told me to pick up some ice cream, and he would pay me back as a thank you for driving him everywhere. He then proceeded to tell me the brand and flavor of my thank you ice cream. We get back home. Steve does not pay me for the ice cream, but he said he would later. The next day, my boyfriend and I thought it would be good to get some ice cream and watch a movie. Come to find out, my housemate had eaten the entire box, and he never paid for it either. So I bought him a thank you present for myself. Wow, Steve is a jerk. Honestly, I would kick him out, honestly, because that's just disrespectful. He is honestly a jerk. Wow. But tell me what y'all think about Steve and Obby in the comments. Next story, hot Cheeto vomit in pool. A few months ago, I was at a neighborhood pool with some friends. There were quite a few families there enjoying the pool and getting a break from the Texas heat. At one point, I look over and see this little girl in the shallow end, about 5 years old, projectile vomiting copious amounts of deep red puke. Seeing this from a distance and having no context, I thought she was vomiting blood. In a panic, I started yelling and pointing at the little girl, hoping to get some attention of whatever group includes her parents. This man turns from the table where he and others are eating, not even paying attention to their kids in the pool, and he rushes to jump in and grab the girl who is still puking everywhere. By this point, I had gotten up and rushed over to see if I could help, having once worked in a medical field. The man rudely brushes me away. It's not blood. She ate a bag of hot Cheetos and always overeats until she pukes. Knowing that, you let her eat a bag, then hop in the pool? Now there's hot Cheeto puke floating at the top of the water and spreading out everywhere. Everyone gets out of the pool, disgusted. The family quickly packs their stuff and left without saying a word or making any effort to clean their daughter's mess. My friend grabs a net and tries to scoop out the puke, but it's too late. The pool day is ruined for everyone. That day and for the rest of the week until the HOA can drain the pool and clean it. The parents, the child, the child is 5, so the child can't really understand what she's doing.
But
she's 5. But the parents, oh no, I have no sympathy for them. They should know that their child, since they know that their child will puke if she overeats the Cheetos, why give her the Cheetos and let her eat the whole bag? Why not just let her eat some later, some now, Some
in between.
It's like reasonable, But tell me what y'all think, and if y'all have any other views on the story.
They're like reasonable amount.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, but I had that shit play.
So this next story is actually like the story before this one. We are a Coupon Karen. So this is Coupon Karen 2. Hello everyone, and thank you for the well wishes in my first post. Living in a small town, I've had other encounters with my couponing Karen in public. Following my first encounter with this Karen, the next 5 or 6 encounters were only in passing with me, just noticing her, glaring at me, but no verbal encounters till my 8th encounter with her. On this encounter, still in pandemic, times were strict and restrictions were still lifted. I decided to go to my town's mall for lap walking and to play some Pokemon Go. Yes, I am a gay nerd, but I love the game. I arrive at the mall on a Saturday, and I have my mask on, and I'm ready to spin Pokestops and watch some Pokemon while stretching my legs. I'm on my second lap, and I'm passing a woman's clothing store, and two women walk out, and one is talking on her phone and giving instructions to whomever she's talking to. Her shopping partner looks at me as I politely social distance around them, continuing my walk. I stroll by, then hear behind me, "That's the homophobic bad word from the grocery store I told you about." I stopped and turned around and made eye contact with the coupon Karen. She has a short haircut to small yoga pants and baggy top, oversized knockoff purse, and two shopping bags with RBF glare at me. I just smile and nod and continue in my pursuit of my Pokemon, saying nothing working my way to the end of the mall. Saying nothing working my way to the end of the mall was what I should say. The woman with the Karen cut just looks at me in her shrug, but says nothing and continues to talk on her phone. I make my way to the end of the mall and start back to the other end and do not see any other women. On my way back down to the mall, I pass one of the two food places in the mall and see them ordering something, but think nothing of it and complete my lap while enjoying my nerdy world of Pokemon Go. I was going to have that interrupted on the return trip from my fourth lap. Karen and her friend are sitting at the table when I walk back by them and feel the RBF glare at me. I hear that fat homophobic is going to have to walk 20 miles to make a difference in his weight. Wow, that's disrespectful on too many levels. The other woman responds, "Don't do this. I just want a relaxing day and there is nothing wrong here." I don't respond and continue my lap. I am now going to start lap 5, and I'm approaching the food tables, and this time I look up. I make eye contact with the coupon Karen, and her eyes narrow over her bedazzled makeup, and she pulls down to take a drink from her cup. Full CBF in my direction, and she slurps. Wow. I get closer, and she says to her friend, "Homophobic is tromping on by again and will gain weight from the food smells." I stop and look at her, and her friend said, "I told you not to do this. It's not worth it." I look from Karen to her friend and back. I address her friend and pull down my mask, and in this loud and lispy voice to her friend, "I'm so sorry, but every so often you have to take them out in public to see if they have to become human. It's a disappointment when you find out they're not human yet." Karen's companion is silent, but their shoulders are starting to twitch in mirth. Karen looks at me and flips me off, calling me a homophobic slur for the third time. In my same lispy voice, "Honey, stop waving around the only bedroom toy you have left in public. At least put some gloves on." Karen's hand drops to the table with a loud thunk. Karen's friend spits her drinks out as she's taking a sip, and it spatters on Karen, and the woman is laughing and choking at the same time. Looking at my coupon Karen with her fish mouth face and her brightening red face, I say final words to her on this occasion. "Honey, the gay card beats the girl card every time. I have read you twice now. If you were another round kitten, I would grow up first." I clapped and went out of the mall entrance farther from my house and walked from there to leave. Score is now Coupon Karen 0 and Nerdy Gay Guy 2. Wow, the Coupon Karen is at it again. Like, girl, you need to get over yourself at this point. Like, you're not winning. You're not winning. I would think she understood the first time, but she clearly didn't. But anyway, make sure to tell me what y'all think down in the comments below, bro. Goodbye. Next story. Am I the bad guy? My husband and I got married while I was mentally unstable. He knew that when he married me anyway. 3 months in, I am finally stabilized and realized we got married. It was already 60 days, so no immaculates could be done. He's disabled, which is ironic because I remember him telling me he works 7 days a week, but he vividly denies it now. He was a friend, so I was like, crap it, let's just try. I have requested a divorce twice and he refused. Now on to the current story. I am busy with paperwork for the mortgage. He's disabled and he doesn't work. I work 60 hours per week, so we live decently comfortable. It's us two and my son. It's us two and my son. I have given him money to renew his license 3 times so far so he can renew his medical card as he needs a current ID. He also receives $3G from me on the 3rd. As he spent $1,200 on medicine and the rest was supposed to be his spending for the next 2 months as I pay all of the bills. I told him he has 7 days until his medical card expired, so he needed to get his ID today. It's 7 a.m. It was 7 a.m. when we had this conversation. He has the audacity to ask me to pull money out of his accounts to get his ID. I flipped my lid as he should still have at least $1,700 from 4 days ago. He didn't pay for Christmas presents as I paid for them. He didn't pay bills as I paid them automatically. He didn't pay for food as I just spent $750 to fill our freezer and our fridge. I understand he's disabled and I'm going to get crap for that, but all he does is hang out inside playing games and then smoking outside our house, and $1,700 is a little less than 3 weeks worth of work for me. I have $983 left in my account, and I'm not happy about having to fork more money over to someone who was literally given an entire month of my income 4 days ago, on top of giving money to renew his license 3 times in the past month. If I request a divorce again, I'm the one being petty, but I've had enough. Am I being crazy because I'm already busy? Like, I'm in tears and I don't want to leave work to go home. What? Okay, I don't feel like you don't necessarily have to, like, the other person doesn't have to agree. If you want a divorce, you have to, like, just get an attorney and stuff. Like, I would divorce him, like, immediately divorce him. Like, there's nothing else we can do. And he would be stuck as a duck in a rug because there's no way I'll be giving him any more money. I'm picking up my son, I'm packing up my stuff. Matter of fact, I'll be kicking him out. Disabled or not, he knows better. Just because he's disabled does not mean he doesn't have a brain. But anyway, tell me what y'all think in the comments down below about this story. The next story. A Karen attacked me over headphones and a DVD player while I was camping because I was watching Tailspin, claiming her child needed something to entertain himself with. In the past, I've made posts about my jerk of a brother, but this time something else happened. I decided to go camping again for the first time this year because of spring break, though I only got the weekend to go. But if it was just enough for me to unwind. My brother didn't follow me like he used to. I think I've finally gotten him to understand screwing with me is not worth it anymore after he drank that growler full of laxative spiked beer he stole from me last year. So the drama from him hasn't been as bad for the past few months, though he's still an entitled jerk, and I've got plenty of things to tell about him and his antics from the months I wasn't posting. I figured my worries about camping trouble were over, but no, I had to deal with a lunatic Karen. I probably spent one night at my campsite. I was loving the fresh air, and fortunately rain was minimal. That's the only reason I went, otherwise I just have to stay home. But I had an itch to scratch to get out and enjoy some mountain air. I was far from alone as the spaces around me were full of tents, trailers, and RVs. Plenty of people caught the camping bug during spring break, just like I did. I was sitting relaxed in a folding lawn chair and watching Tailspin on my portable DVD player. Yeah, I know it's a cartoon, and an old one at that, but I enjoyed it since I was a kid. I used to watch some old tapes of it which my cousin had, and I've owned the DVDs of the complete series for around 10 years. And I won't deny it, I've always had a bit of a crush on the character Rebecca Cunningham. I've had headphones on because other campers were playing music, barbecuing, and doing good. I was just chilling and letting myself mentally zone out with some refreshing cold beer, and I had a sudden and hard tap on my shoulder that frankly scared the actual world out of me for a second. And then I turned around to see a roughly middle-aged woman in over-tight purple yoga pants and her hands on her hips. She didn't have the Karen cut, but she did have the bleach blonde hair and overly large bug-eyed sunglasses. I know in the situation a lot of people will reflectively say, "Can I help you?" But that's just giving it on openly to people, say whatever they want. So my first reaction is just angrily say, "What? Can't you see I'm trying to relax myself?" That set her aback for a second. She didn't go away, so I paused the episode and I was on grumpily asked her what she was bothering me about. She spoke up in a matter-of-the-fact way that sounded like she was trying to be in charge. I guess trying to activate mom mode on a stranger. But I think the unfriendly scowl on my face was enough to show that I am not exactly friendly. So she was just pointed to the portable DVD player and said she wanted to borrow it and the headphones from her daughter. I make it brief. I said no, and no is a complete sentence because I don't know her, and I don't know if she bring it back. But anyway, and I certainly don't know if our kid would damage it. I do actually keep a smaller backup portable DVD player in my camper too, but I wasn't about to let this woman know that. Well, she certainly didn't take being told off like it was very well, and then launched into a trident about how as a grown man watching cartoons, how she only have one TV in her RV and her daughter needs something to watch because her kids can't agree on what to watch, so she needed the DVD player. I coldly said that was not happening, and she actually gave a loud "why not?" So I pointed out to her that it was really not my problem, and she just crossed her arms and said, "As an adult, I should be putting kids first." I said that would be the case if I had kids, but her kids are not my kids. I don't know them, and I'm not in any way related to them, and therefore I have no obligation to them. So she rolled her eyes and then tried to offer me money for the headphones and DVD player. Admittedly, I didn't pay much for either of them, but I don't care. I wasn't interested in selling. And she only offered $20 for both anyway. I just told her no and kindly leave me alone to watch movies in peace. Then I tried to sit back down and resume the episode. She didn't take that well at all and proceeded to try to grab my DVD player right in front of me, like I was just going to let her walk off with it. I got up and stopped her while saying, "This ain't yours, lady." She proceeded to try and shove me over it. Try being the word. She clearly underestimated how heavy I am. I don't look at all, but I'm around 230 pounds. My body frame just hides it quite well. And I've been in a few brawls in my life. I ended up grabbing her arms and shoving her back with little effort. She fell on her bum, so don't try to overreact, with some wet grass and started yelling, and I assaulted her while looking around for support. I've seen enough Karen stories to know where this goes if I say nothing, so I yelled, "Yeah, assault on me when you tried to push me over and steal my stuff." There's plenty of witnesses around us, lady, or did you not notice? There had already been a few people around us watching the whole interaction, and they'd gone dead quiet while staring. So then I said to everyone, "Check it out, we've got a bona fide Karen who tried to take my stuff for her precious angel baby." Everyone clapped for her. And they did. They actually started clapping. The Karen looked completely humiliated and stormed off screeching that I was an a-hole. Her yoga pants were so wet from the grass, which only made it funnier. I kept thinking as she walked away, but I didn't say it out loud. That's Karen got what she deserved, honestly. I tried to resume watching the DVD as I was, but I felt uneasy that the Karen might come back. She snuck up on me rather easily before, and I didn't want to risk that again. So I packed up and went into my camper to continue watching and drinking aside. Got pretty plastered that night. I remember giggling like a moron while watching the episode with the panda people that were evil Chinese stereotypes, staying at the campsite for one more night and didn't see the Karen until I was leaving Sunday morning. I saw her standing by her POS looking RV, with a large fountain beverage in one hand and a dog leash in the other. It was one of those yappy little fluff dogs too. She glared at me as I drove past, and I just waved at her and said, "Bye, Karen," out of my window. She threw her drink at my truck, but none of it got in through the window. I could hear her yelling at me, but couldn't really make a word out of it. I'm not sure what goes on in the heads of those people. I understand this could have gotten a lot worse. Like, the nut bar sticking in the local ranger at me or something, but I think the public humiliation was enough to make her back off. I can only wonder if the rest of her family is just like her. Glad I didn't meet them. Edit. Here's a DVD player and DVD's link. Edit 2. I like to clarify that the tap that Karen did on my shoulder was not by no means light. She had long fake nails and tapped my shoulder hard like she was on a mission to dig her nails into my skin in rapid success. And that really made me mad from the start. That Karen! Oh, no. Assault, I think I would have might secretly beat her up. But I can understand that people probably wouldn't be like too happy about that because this is a male. But honestly, it doesn't matter because she assaulted me first. So honestly, call the police, like get her arrested for assault. But like, there's nothing else to say. But she is a Karen on the worst level possible. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But tell me what y'all think about this story down in the comments below. Bye. Next story, entitled Cousin Demands Me to Cover Up. Little things you need to know. I am a 26-year-old female with a curvy body type, and I have a huge vertical scar from just below my sternum to my navel. I was given the scar because I needed emergency surgeries. My life was at risk, and there was no other way. Unfortunately, the surgery was botched. I recently found out a whole 2 years after it happened. I needed the surgery because I had a perforated stomach ulcer that was a risk of leaking stomach acid into my abdominal cavity. It would have been a smaller scar, but the surgeon accidentally sliced my liver while cutting me open and caused blood to spill out. I lost 3 liters of blood. This meant they had to cut me open further than planned. Anyway, long story short, I could have died that night, and my scar is my battle wound. I'm quite proud of it. It shows that I survived, and I think it's cute. It's also been 2 years since the surgery, and the scar has healed nicely. It's not so nasty looking, and it'll fade more in time. Now back to the main reason of the post. I went to visit a family a couple days ago, and restrictions in my area aren't as bad anymore. It also helps my family agree to invite only the vaccinated members. Well, my aunt's house has a pool in the backyard, and I was wearing a bikini. It was tasteful and not overly revealing, not a thong bikini. And my aunt decides to wear though, but it of course showed off my scar, which I didn't think was an issue. Everyone was having a good time when my second cousin Melanie came over, pointed her finger at my stomach, and gestured in a vertical sense, clearly referring to my scar. She then made a face and said, "Can you cover up, please? Your scar is triggering me. It's not okay for children to see because it represents violence." I'm just standing there with my other cousin Shannon, both of us wide-eyed over her phrase. I'm sorry, what? What violence does my scar represent? I asked her how it was triggering. Now I'm kind of mentally up there, and sometimes obvious social cues don't make it into my brain, and my whole family is aware of this. And she full on says, so your scar is just ruined the atmosphere, and my children won't stop asking me questions about it. Like, not everything has to be about you. I told her that I was sorry, and it made her uncomfortable, but that she and her kids don't have to look at the scar, and I was not going to cover up because I wasn't ashamed of my body. She had huffed and puffed and made a big bad wolf who was never invited in the first place. There's a reason why nobody invited her. And yells at me in front of the family. I asked you politely to cover up your ugly scar. Don't you understand how you are being to me? I told you your scar triggers me, and you should just try once to not think about yourself. You are obviously trying to be the center of attention at my family's pool party by flaunting your accident at everybody. We all know you only have the surgery to get reactions from people. Then she stormed off like a toddler would. I went back to hanging out with our family, and everyone just laughed at her behavior. She was being a brat. No surprise there. I get that my scar isn't pleasant to look at, but my aunt was in a string thong bikini showing off her giant C-section scar, and Melody didn't say anything about that. But because my scar didn't bring life to the world, it's okay to complain about it. Okay, Karen. I brushed it off, but every time Melanie had to walk past me, she would say, ew, 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 over and over, so everyone could hear her tantrum. Finally, I had enough when I heard her loudly explain to her children that their mommy's cousin has meningitis. And I pulled her aside and flat out ripped it into her in front of everybody and her kids, who were preteen brats. And I say, you know what, Melanie, grow up. You're 37 years old and you're being not only a bully, but a complete jerk. You're also clearly ruining this to get together for your own personal gain, and I'm sick of your crap. Either grow up or get over the fact that people have lives and don't involve you. What are you doing? Or get out and leave. No one wants you here anyway. She then starts to fake cry. It was obviously fake. It hurt. And boo-hooed about how mean I am and how all this could have been avoided if I just hadn't shown up in the first place. Later on, when she was leaving, her daughter walked up to me and said, Mommy told me she wished you hadn't survived the surgery because you ruined her life today. Like, wow. Most of our family agreed that she had crossed the line, but say I shouldn't have snapped at her so publicly. I don't think it might have been tactless to yell at her in front of the kids, but I did suggest for them to run off and get their shoes while I spoke to their mom. They just didn't listen. Edit. I just realized how much of a doof I am for asking if I was the a-hole in the wrong subreddit. My bad. I think this post works here, so she was acting entitled. What does she mean she asked you to cover up your ugly scar? She was not being entitled. She was being a jerk, an a-hole. Like, what type of ridiculous stuff is this? And the fact that there was somebody else with a scar and she didn't say anything about that, oh no. But tell me what y'all think about this. Make sure to put in explicit detail. What do y'all think about this whole situation? Make sure to comment.